So I've got a interesting. It's orange. It's an interesting looking cocktail. Again, I don't know what's in it. And again, what will normally happen is that I'll get to a certain point in the podcast where I'll have a dry throat and I'll need something to drink.
And you'll just down it.
The nearest thing to hand will be this incredibly alcoholic cocktail in front of me, which I'll just end up necking. And then shortly afterwards, the podcast kind of... I reckon it goes downhill. Like for my... My persona probably gets dragged through the dirt a little bit. But for entertainment value...
Yeah.
Entertainment value, it's just comedy gold.
I think she's getting you drunk on purpose.
To do what?
To be funnier.
Could be.
And drunker.
The downside to drinking all of this is that you end up needing to pee more.
Okay. That's
so,
true, you do.
Do you know, like, urinal protocol? Like the general etiquette for using a public urinal?
Eyes up, look straight forward, don't talk.
Yeah, those are all just given ones. That's not the heavy in the background.
No, it certainly was not the heavy in the background, honestly.
Yeah, so public urinals. Yeah, so you've got the general.
I'd be terrified if the heavy came into a public urinal. He'd take up so much space. He'd need 3 urinals to himself, and he'd just be sitting there going dun dun dun. dun.
Take that! Psh, take that! Psh.
Ugh.
Sitting on the can, going pow!
Killing communist cube things they put in urinals.
Is it just me, or do you intentionally try to aim for those things?
I've never been into a public bathroom.
You lie! You've never been in a public toilet. Have you got one of those phobias?
I didn't say ever. I said for a while. For many years.
So you might not be familiar with the proper protocol then. So when you go in, and if you go in and you see all the urinals up against the wall, which one do you go for? So let's say there are 5 in front of you. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 1's closest to the door. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going away from you.
And there's no one else there.
There's no one else there in this situation.
If there's no one else there, what does it matter?
Just bear with me. Just bear with me.
Okay. I would. Let's see. I would probably the one closest to the wall.
The one furthest away from the door, like number.
Yeah, why not? Number 5.
Then you are correct. You have toilet etiquette. That is what you should do.
Okay.
First person, if it's completely empty, should go to the one furthest away from the wall.
Why? Wait, why?
What do you mean why? Because you're furthest away from the wall.
So?
From the door, I mean. But it becomes clear, right?
Yeah, okay.
So person number 2 comes in while you're shaking the lizard or whatever it is that you're doing.
Killing communist cubes.
Okay, so while you're killing communist cubes with your fiery stream of piss, Mr. Man number 2 comes in. Where should he stand?
1, 2, or 3.
Any one of 1, 2, or 3.
Well,
as long as he's not at number 4, is that what you're saying?
As long as he's not at number 4, yeah, that would be awkward.
That's wrong. He should be number 1.
Okay, the furthest away from you.
Just the furthest away from you, yeah. Mm-hmm. That way, there's no chance of any sort of contact. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Right? So, while you and Mr. Man number 1 are caressing the trouser snake, Mr. Man number 2 walks in. Where should he stand?
So number 1's occupied and number 5 is occupied.
1 and 5 are occupied. So you've got 2, 3, or 4 to choose from.
Well, it would be the middle. It would be 3.
It would be number 3. That would be correct. Because obviously, logically, you've got the most amount of personal space.
Aha.
So that's fine. So then what happens is Mr.
Wait. Are any of these men George Michael?
It does change things a little bit if it's George Michael, but no. Let's say for this situation they're not.
Okay.
You got lucky.
He was busy being stoned driving into pedestrians. Maybe.
Way to be like old in terms of joking.
That's the last time I saw the news. Carry on.
Gaming Cave, news does not penetrate. Wait, rephrase that.
Finish the damn story.
Anyway, so you've had way too much to drink, so you're still peeing at this point, right? So
wow.
Mr. Man number 1 in cubicle number 1, or stall number 1, or whatever.
Yeah.
You in number 5 and somebody number 3. So you've got 2 and 4 left.
Yes.
Somebody else walks in. Where do they go?
On the floor. Does it matter? 2 and 4 are pretty much identical. They've still got someone on either side.
You're closer with your first answer.
What, on the floor?
They don't. They stand and wait. They wait for the next person to finish.
Seriously, is that correct etiquette?
That's correct etiquette, because you don't want somebody to come up and stand right next to you.
But what if they were bursting and they had no choice?
Then that's just tough. Be a man. Hold it in.
You might argue that a man wouldn't worry about another man being right next to them peeing.
I suppose. Unless it's George Michael. The interesting thing is that there's an entire science behind urinal protocol and the vulnerability and so on, and the optimal number of urinals and placement and so on. Because 5 is actually the optimal number. I mean, you could technically have 10 in there, but 5 is actually the optimal number.
In my theme hospital days, that was pretty much the case. Just lining them up.
I mean, let's say, for example, right, if you had 7 urinals, somebody went into the first one, somebody went into the furthest away one. The next logical place would be
the middle.
In number 4, which would mean that there was
an uneven amount on the right.
Two on the left and 2 on the right that are free, but either one you'd be touching somebody. Not touching them, but touching them.
You wouldn't. I forget. I think you and whoever have made these kind of reports have put way too much thought into it. You're just going for a pee.
It's a big deal.
It's still better than in the women's bathroom where they don't have urinals. They just go on the floor. It's true, by the way. I've been in there once. I've snuck into one once just to see what they had instead of urinals. And if any men listening don't know, they do just squat on the floor. It's disgusting. It's a well-kept secret, but it's horrible.
Just in the corner somewhere.
In holes. They have sort of mounds.
And a man standing in the corner with a rake. Just raking it up.
I've forgotten what number it is.
It's 27.
I know. Hello and welcome to the 27th braingohurty gaming podcast. I'm pretending to be enthusiastic. How about you?
I don't need to pretend. I've got alcohol.
True, I don't have alcohol, so I have to fake it like a pro.
And screw up the title once again.
Again, that's why I shouldn't do it. But, I haven't been talking to any random racist old ladies for the past 2 weeks or anything like that.
Or contemplating toilet etiquette.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. And for anyone who's overly interested, you can probably link them to the science you found on it.
The science of urination.
Yeah, well, if Portal's taught us anything, it's that people will do science with anything, on anything, to anything.
With anything.
With
anything.
Yes. So we're going to go off the beaten track a little bit this time because we are going to still start with something we've been playing, but because it's probably going to take us a while to talk about it, we're just going to focus straight on Diablo 3.
Yeah, and people are probably more interested in hearing us talking about Diablo 3 than all the other random bits and pieces we've been playing that are probably... Like in general, people probably might not be all that interested in things like, Age of Empires Online and stuff like that.
Don't spoil it. There's things that might be interesting that you may have already forgotten about.
Yes, probably. So,
but we're talking about Diablo 3, aren't we?
Diablo 3. It's been a long time coming. 11 years, is that right?
Well, it's been 12 years since Diablo 2. But they haven't necessarily been making it that long.
It's been a while.
And they still managed to cock up the launch royally.
When does a big game never have a launch cock up, though? Really?
When it's a genuine single-player game.
So, is it going to start off with you ranting on about the bad side of it? You can do a bad thing and I'll do a good thing, and then you can do a bad thing and I'll do a good thing.
Why do I get to do the bad ones?
Because you're a bad person.
Okay. That's true, I am. I killed all those people. I mean, I killed all those people.
All those communist toilets.
So I'll start with the most obvious bad thing then, and that would be Error 37, which even plagued us during the videos we've been doing.
If you're not familiar, Error 37 is just one of the many error messages that it's probably the most common error message to pop up when people are trying to log into the servers. Because
whether you're playing online or off, you're always on, as we've mentioned before, so it needs to log into the Battle.net authentication servers every single time. and it got crippled. Like, ours were bad, but the American ones were a million times worse.
Yeah,
they had it much worse.
Yeah, they were locked out for quite some time.
Yeah, whereas here we could persist and get on. Theirs actually got shut down for a few hours.
At longest, I think it was 2 hours on launch. I think 2 hours was about the length of time it took before we. But that's not even true, because when I bought it and it arrived on launch day, and I got in from work and I installed it and got in instantly the very first time before we were ready to play.
And then you got logged out.
Then I went away for dinner, and then it tried to log back in just after everybody had probably been and had dinner. And then it took about 2 hours to get in. But we did get in on launch day.
That's the other thing. You were in a single-player game, yet you got auto-disconnected from a single-player game.
Yeah, that did happen as well. Yeah, you get if you wander away from the keyboard, as with most shooters and stuff, you get kicked from a server. Same thing seemed to happen with Diablo 3.
You have to think about that, because it's constantly reading what you're doing.
Yeah,
and I've tested this now. I've played the game playing it single player, while also uploading to YouTube, so my crappy connection is pretty stressed, and I get lag as if I was in a laggy server, even though I'm playing alone.
That to me is the worst thing. That's the worst part about it, because what if you do have a poor connection? You're going to play a laggy single player game.
Exactly, but my connection is still a broadband connection, so that must mean. It made me think, what are they constantly checking? And there's rumours of them constantly checking the ongoing chat log. And I bet it's one of the things you have to agree to in the logging process. Did you not check that? One of the things you have to agree to is that they can analyze the chat logs and stuff from the game. So they are just you have to play as if you've got a big blizzard eye sitting on your shoulder looking at you going, what are you doing that for? What are you doing that for? So I'm kind of glad that the only two things I've said in the chat that have both been caught in videos, because I kind of leave them in as Easter eggs I don't think anyone's noticed yet, are things like screw you and if you read this you've got too much time on your hands.
I remember that I saw the last one, I thought that it was actually aimed at me, but
No, it's aimed at people who, like anyone watching videos that I've uploaded, would have to make it full screen or at least the big double size.
I always watch everything full screen on my giant TV. So we've probably spent quite a while talking about the negative points to start with, which is maybe not the greatest thing to do. But the positive things is it's still a great game to play. It is still very, very good. If you like Diablo 2, you will like Diablo 3. That's kind of the
I agree. I am enjoying it as a game, and I don't agree with everybody like nuking it review-wise based purely on the crap about the always-on DRM, etc.
It's not breaking the mold. It's not, doing anything particularly new. It is essentially Diablo 2, but with better graphics and some new moves and some new classes and stuff. If you were looking for something completely different, you're not going to find it. But if you haven't played Diablo 2 in a while and really, really enjoyed it back like when like we did, then you're going to love it. And especially if you've got somebody else to play with as well, it's going to be phenomenal.
Up to 4 people.
Yeah. So my brother has bought it today as well, so we might be playing with him at some point soon.
Well, yeah, we'll need to get him caught up to us now, though, because that's us into Act 2.
And much like the the TF2 nights that we're running, we might open up for other people to join us in the future for smooshing goodness.
For 2 more people to join us, or 1 more if your brother's there.
2 more or 1 more, depends. If there's a free space, why not?
Yeah, is his name Noodles?
Noodles doesn't have money for games.
We'll just leave the space open for Noodles.
Noodles, if you're listening.
There is a space for you. You have to play as a woman. Because every team of 4 has to have 1 woman. It's one of those gaming rules. So you're the woman.
That's true. That's very true. So what are you liking the most about it? Like one particular thing, as opposed to the game as a whole just being
Well, ignoring the fact that the game type of kind of just looking for bigger and better loot appeals to the OCD in me, I would say the thing I'm enjoying most is how visceral and splatty everything is.
It is quite cool when you can, I don't know if it's just critical hits or whatever, or just random, but sometimes when you hit an enemy and it just catapults across the screen, and then slams into a wall and bounces off that. And
it's not even just the impact or the element also affects how they die. It's just that each enemy has very unique death animations. Like sometimes you can splatter something and its bones will get left behind,
Yeah.
or its head will fall off, or you'll knock it across the screen into destructible scenery that all just goes flying. I like those little touches. It seems like they've paid a lot of attention to little details like that technically don't matter.
It's weird that people have commented saying that they don't like the graphics, they don't think it's anything special. And while they're not like, cutting edge graphics, these little things do take up, a bit of processing and stuff, and they do make all the difference. Seeing all these little things going on during the mass craziness that is Diablo 3 is quite
I find it amazing that people call it too cartoony or imply that it doesn't look good enough, because I think it looks perfectly fine.
No, it looks perfectly fine to me. If you want to look at something that's well more cartoony than this, I mean, like WoW is a lot more cartoony. But who says cartoony's bad? No,
I mean, and the same people who are saying it's too cartoony will probably be looking forward to Torchlight 2, which is far more cartoony in its visual style. It's not saying it's bad, just saying it's more cartoony.
Yeah. It's obviously going to get a lot of flack because it's a big anticipated title. You can say that it has Call of Duty fever, where people are going to hate it because it's cool to hate on it.
And it's cool to hate on Blizzard right now, especially since after Activision got their claws into them.
That's true. The thing that I'm liking the most, I suppose, is probably the different characters. I mean, I know the Barbarian come from before and so on, but the Witch Doctor, I mean, the monk kind of plays a bit like Paladin, doesn't it? And the Witch Doctor does play...
Yes.
The Witch Doctor does play a bit like Necromancer. Or you can play it like Necromancer anyway.
If you choose to, they're like hybrids, kind of.
Yeah, they've kind of boiled the classes down into these sort of smaller classes that they have now. And they're bound to release more. They're bound to.
And expansions, hopefully, not just as like DLC characters, I hope.
I hope so. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying the Witch Doctor. He's quite fun to play, and in general, just the combat seems to be quite fast paced. It's quite.
I would agree if people called it simple, because there isn't much thinking to it.
Because at best you've got left click, right click, and
and your 1 to 4 keys,
and that's about it. But I think that's the point. I can't remember who it was, but somebody once said that what you do is, I think it was actually aimed at Halo, the original Halo, is that what you do is you create something like between 5 and 15 seconds of like gaming gold, right? In terms of like gameplay, and then you multiply that over and over and over and over and over and over and over to make a game. And Diablo 3 falls into that category. Diablo as a whole falls into that category, where you've got that very simple bit of action.
Yes.
And you just multiply that thousands of times and you've got the game.
There is a risk for certain types of people that would get repetitive faster than others, though. I don't think it suits me. I like it, so it wouldn't get boring for me very fast.
I think you're right. That's people probably will say that it's boring and repetitive and stuff. But another thing that they've done to counter that, I guess, is that you don't go like 3 or 4 levels without getting any new skills or abilities and stuff. It's just instantly every level you get something different. And I think that's a way of it's making it more casual, I suppose. Is to use one of
a little bit, but they've included hardcore mode now, so when you die, you die. That's it.
Yeah. You can
and of course, they've got the higher difficulties as well to go through for more lootsies.
I've got a feeling that we'll be playing this for quite some time.
Well, just as well, really, given the time of year it is.
It's pretty perfect, really, because
perfect timing. Yeah,
it's got really nothing for the summer, so.
I suppose, despite being always on, it's not an MMO in the sense that there's a recurring fee, so that's one good thing.
Some of the things that interest me is that this is the first time we've seen something that's always on, where you know that it's not for like an MMO or whatever. And obviously there's the talk of the next gen consoles possibly having always on to prevent hacking and piracy and all that sort of nonsense.
Yeah, all that other BS.
So I wonder whether or not this is going to highlight to people. Well, people have already been saying it's a bad idea, but whether
people
or not
have, and now there's proof, which is good.
It's settling down a bit. We haven't had any login issues really for the last couple of days.
Oh, but the fact we had, it's ruined the launch of this, and it's such a big game. It might ruin others, but that's on the proviso that you assume that other games will be as sought after as this one was.
I mean, it depends on, you've got to look at it that it's a company. Obviously, Blizzard have got a lot of money. They could have put in many, many more servers and not had this problem. Mm-hmm. But the way that companies work is that they will try to get by on the minimal overhead possible. So they're going to have put up what
especially Activision,
and they've even said they even said that they did like forecasts above what they were really expecting, and still obviously they got hammered. They thought that they'd actually put on more servers than necessary. Is what they say. Now, obviously they didn't want to put on way too many because obviously the overhead costs, blah 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 blah. But then the PR backlash of what's happened just goes to show you that maybe they should have.
I hope people will use it as an example for time to come anyway, that always on is not necessary for certain types of games or genres, and this is one of them, because who cares if there's a real money auction house? It's a waste of time. They're just hoping they wanted more money.
They want more hats. I mean, more money.
More hats and money, because they just want the cut of every sale for real money.
The interesting thing is that, like, as you're saying, because it's always on and you have to connect to their servers, you can't play single player. You can't make your own server yet. People haven't figured that bit out yet. But it means that people that would have had, like, hacked, pirated review advanced copies didn't get into the servers to do, make all these millions of videos and have them ready to upload on day one, or review the game until day one. And the reviewers weren't being able to get in and review the bloody game.
How dare you steal one of my points? I said that to you the other day, and you've stolen it, and you've passed it off to your own opinion.
That's how you podcast like a pro.
Yeah, you just steal everything from everyone. It works, yeah. I think it's time we moved on to something we should have mentioned far earlier, which is that we're trying to do a little giveaway to do with Diablo 3.
That's true. So we've got 2 guest passes for Diablo 3 to give away. Completely free, no strings attached.
There is strings attached. There's not.
I'm hiding the strings. They're secret invisible strings.
They're shaped like a hoop and they're in your hand.
Yeah, so the 2 Diablo 3 guest passes to give away. They let you play the game up until the first boss of Act 1. Codes are going to be given away at random to 2 lucky people who like the braingohurty Facebook page. So head on over to Facebook, search for braingohurty, click like, and you'll be in the running for it.
The URL is facebook.com/braingohurty.
It's as easy as that. Yes. Winners are going to get announced on the 26th of May.
Yes.
They'll get notified via Facebook as well with their codes. So good luck, and hopefully it'll convince people that don't have the game to pick it up and play it, because it's still a very good game.
We might also give away some guest passes for WoW. It's kind of booby prizes.
We've got a few booby prizes of some WoW codes for like trials for WoW. We won't go into a lot of detail on that unless you're really, really interested in WoW.
No, I don't think anyone is anymore.
So there's a few of those that will get given away to lucky bunny ears runners up.
Lucky bunny ear runner ups.
Lucky bunny ears.
That
would be a better prize to give away, actually. Bunny ears.
Well, you know what would be the best one to give away? This is something a French sex shop caught on to the Diablo publicity, so they decided, a lot of boyfriends are going to be busy playing this game, and the girlfriends are going to feel lonely. I can see
where this is going.
So they've made a Diablo dildo.
Is it an actual Diablo dildo?
It doesn't look like him, but that's what they call it.
It's like sculpted out of what they imagine his genitals to look like.
But yeah, so they're marketing it at the lonely girlfriend of the Diablo 3 player. Is Vicky going to have any interest in that?
No, because I don't play it. I don't have like I wouldn't say this is actually something that we should have touched on many podcasts ago.
Or gaming addiction.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I have gaming addiction, but only because I have to go to work.
I would say I don't have gaming addiction either, but that's only because I can't inject it into my wrist.
Don't get me wrong, I do spend most of my free time gaming.
I would rather spend it gaming than clubbing or drinking.
Exactly. I don't really enjoy we're getting older, blah blah blah.
Oh, we're getting older. Oh, God, it's fast approaching 30.
Well, it's never really been my scene. I mean, I've always preferred pubs over clubs and stuff, but not getting into that. It's value for money wise, it's pretty good. It's not even like a non-social thing. I mean, when is it that we're not playing where we're
in days gone by it was. That's why it's changed. Now it's far more social than it was.
Exactly. So it's become such a social thing, and it's not demonized for being geeky guys sitting in their bedrooms masturbating over ponies or whatever anymore.
No, except when a nutter goes, on a killing spree, then it gets demonized.
Oh yeah. Or
that's the exception.
Or some child has been left abandoned or whatever.
Yeah. I remember doing that.
So on the subject of like gaming addiction and
I have one more Diablo 3 thing.
All right, okay. Yeah.
It's just a quote by someone, Mr. Jeff Vogel of Spiderweb Software, that extremely well-known software company.
Yeah, I know of them.
Spiderware Software. Well, he made a good point regardless of whether he's known or not. He said, this was on the subject of, the always-on stuff. So he said, the reason that this bothers me so much is that this sort of thing is bad for PC gaming. It's not bad for Blizzard, they'll still make a mint. But this sort of thing tarnishes the entire platform. Every gamer who gets hit with this sort of thing has a chance of being pushed away from the PC, in brackets, and with good reason, and towards consoles, iOS, and other platforms that don't have these hassles. Which is a good point, assuming the new generation doesn't also have always on.
Well, there you go. There's that in a nutshell. And that actual comment got me and Vicky talking on the way home from work recently about the whole always on thing and about next gen consoles and so on. Because, to be quite honest, it's not really that big a deal for me. I don't really see it as being. Yeah, I mean, granted, okay, I do have. In the upper percentile of connections in the UK, right? I'm probably in the sort of top 15% of connections, I guess.
For the record, most of Europe has one better than you.
Exactly, and that's the point I'm about to make. Most of the rest of the world has a better connection than most of us in the UK do. So for most of the rest of the world, internet connectivity is not an issue, which is why they can get by with this sort of shit. This is why these things are going to start, sliding under the radar.
There are those who don't want to pay for an internet connection, though, and just don't have any interest in being online.
This is very true. But then...
And they used to be able to say, I don't need Xbox Live or PlayStation. I've got single-player games on my PC. But that might change as well.
It might. I know. But, who doesn't have an internet connection these days? I know it's forcing you to buy something else, but...
I was going to say people in Papua New Guinea, but we get some weird podcast, and I'm pretty sure we've got at least one or two from there.
Here's a good example for you, right? When Xbox Live first started out, I was totally against it. I was well and truly against it. I was like, I'm paying for an internet connection. Why the fuck would I want to pay for the privilege of using said internet connection to play a multiplayer game online when I'd been using my PC to do that for years, completely free?
I agree with that point of view now, for the record.
But the main competitor to Xbox Live came out, PSN, and showed me the reason why Xbox Live was worth paying money for.
Because of the way they do servers, you mean?
Exactly. Because it always feels that everything works better on Xbox Live than it does on PlayStation Network. I'm not saying the Xbox is better. I'm not saying the PlayStation's worse. I'm saying for multiplayer... It's no surprise that,
servers.
Generally speaking, we have always bought games for the Xbox.
I do find the way they do online better on the Xbox, yes. Personally, that's my personal opinion, I prefer on the Xbox. I don't prefer the people on
No, not the fucking people, fuck that. No, but that's why we have Skype. I mean, like, one of the benefits was always the whole being able to chat and all that sort of stuff worked better on the Xbox over the PlayStation. I mean, we've tested that time and time again. But now that's not an issue. You will not find us sitting chatting in public games because we use Skype exclusively.
Well, unless we ever had like a get-together with people.
We could, but I suppose not everybody's going to have their console and PC necessarily in the same...
stuff, exactly. That's why.
I mean, we're probably one of the few people that do. But there's a very good reason for doing it. Because... It's
better than the alternative.
Well, the quality of sound you're listening to right now, that's the quality of sound we listen to while we're gaming.
Yes, as opposed to the kind of crackly...
Sorry.
That's an accurate impersonation of 90% of Xbox Live. In fact, the only reason PlayStation Network isn't like that is because no one bothers to try and use voice communication on it because it's so bad.
It used to be such a big thing as well. Like, I remember when I used to play like Gears 1 on Xbox Live, and everybody would, like, you got into your team or whatever, and everybody had their mics up and everyone was chatting and, you know, strategy and all that sort of stuff. But then, like, you go on now and nobody ever really uses their mic, and it's always like there'll be one person sitting in the lobby or sitting in the game go, "You got a mic? Anybody got a mic? Hey, Blind Furry, have you got a mic?" And you're just sitting thinking, I do have a mic, but mine's not plugged in.
I'm trying to remember the last time I used an open mic in a 360 game. I think it may have been the first Left 4 Dead, which I stupidly got on the 360 rather than PC.
Weird.
And I think someone was asking during the match, does anyone have a mic? And I said yes. And then rather than say, oh, okay, they said, why did you use your medkit there? You shouldn't have done that. So... So I never bothered saying anything else.
What are you doing eating it? What the fuck?
He didn't know how to properly use a medkit, clearly.
I hope you taught him well.
Yes, I left him for dead.
Oh, God.
I didn't mean that to be a pun. I didn't mean it. It's true, I did let him die.
So, on the subject of like playing games socially and stuff, you know, it's the 10-year anniversary for Final Fantasy XI.
I did, yes.
10
it's been
years.
Many years. My sister still plays it. She's probably playing it right now while listening to this.
It's quite crazy. Like 10 years.
Yes, she is quite crazy.
The weird thing is that, you know, back then, using, you know, Skype or Mumble or TeamSpeak and Ventrilo and all these sort of things wasn't really as... I suppose people's connections probably couldn't handle it as well as they can now. But
Ventrilo.
Yeah, that's what I said.
No, you said Ventrilo.
Fuck you, buddy. The chat and everything was all done via the
in-game,
that keyboard thing that I type things into.
Yeah, that weird thing.
I wonder whether or not, if it came out now, whether or not that would still be the same. And as a result, because the reason why Final Fantasy XI was quite successful, to me anyway, was that it actually had a real community. And there was like notorious people on servers and backstabbers and people that had good reputation. And it was a big thing to have a good reputation. You couldn't be a dick. WoW lets you be a dick. And I guess that's probably why it has the reputation as a game that it does. Final Fantasy XI, you couldn't be a dick, because otherwise you got fucked over from then on out. Because nobody else would be wanting to help you. And you needed help from then on out.
Yes, exactly.
So I wonder whether if you had like voice chat back then, whether it would have worked.
Well, some link shells back then did use Skype for their Dynamis runs and that kind of thing.
I suppose, but not like right at the very beginning.
No, and I certainly never was involved in any of it. Forced you to use voice communication. It was all in-game stuff, all macros, that kind of stuff.
There's WoW guilds that raid, and it's all like, you know, they need to have, you know, Ventrilo or Skype or whatever running.
Mm-hmm.
But
yes, I see that's a requirement.
That's been more of a sort of, not, I say recent, I don't mean like, you know, the last couple of years, but that wasn't 10 years ago.
No.
It's just interesting to see how that's all changed. But I do miss Final Fantasy XI.
Well, to go back to the opening topic of other things we've been playing, now that we've finished with Diablo 3, at least for now, I have been playing...
finished Diablo 3?
Well, you're not talking about it. I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 because they did not a welcome back, a kind of, we don't suck so much anymore.
Please come back, please. We'll pay you. Have they started money
anyone
yet?
Who's previously subscribed got 10 days free.
So they're essentially paying you to play the game?
Kind of, yeah. Or they're paying at their own expense, yeah. So, and you'd been telling me that you'd heard rumours that it was much more like Final Fantasy XI than it used to be.
Have they started offering you their firstborn child yet?
No, because they know I'd eat it.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I had heard that people have said it's changed and it's become more like Final Fantasy XI over the...
I would agree that it is more like Final Fantasy XI now, but not... The fundamentals are still wrong. I mean, they've added like advanced jobs, like paladins in there, bards, stuff like that, and you have to level 2 classes to get access to that kind of thing. There's proper normal quests, not just the leave quest repeatable bullshit that they had.
Right.
But the fundamentals are there that are still wrong. Like, every area is far too big and it's all just thin paths and they're empty, and it feels empty.
It feels like there's just too much space and nothing in it.
Too much space, not enough people in it. Yeah. Still nice looking, but...
Is that too little people as in players, or like is that including enemies?
Just too little NPCs, too little going on compared to like stuff I've played since I gave up Final Fantasy XI and when I first tried Final Fantasy XIV. Stuff like Aeon, stuff like Old Republic, they're far better as games.
So do you think it will just continue to slowly die and then get given up on entirely, or?
I'd imagine it's still turning over money right now, so they'll keep it going as long as they can to try and recoup the cost. I don't think it'll ever go profitable, though.
Just goes to show you. I mean, if you went back 10 years and you said that Square Enix, let alone making a Final Fantasy game, would make a big bulls up of it and would be, making a loss probably, or no, not making a huge profit, or it would just bomb.
I would say
you'd be like, fuck off. You'd be like, no, Square Enix.
They have the Bethesda thing, like we spoke about last time. They used to have the pedigree that they couldn't do anything wrong.
Exactly. Which is, I suppose that's a good thing. People are now less naive. And you don't just go, well, it's a Square game, I'm going to buy it. Oh, well, actually, do you know what? That's a lie, because, it's a Call of Duty game, I'll go buy it.
Ugh.
That exists.
Ugh, yeah, sadly. To carry on with what I was playing, I'll get a few quick ones out of the way. I've done a bit of Disgaea 4, just the latest DLC. Done a bit of Skyrim. Tried my hand at doing a mod spotlight for it for the first time. That I guess kind of went okay.
I could never do that because I don't think I can play with mods unless it was something that fit quite well. I can't break that atmosphere. I can't have lightsabers and.
Are you trying to say lightsabers and Sharingans aren't fitting?
It just feels wrong.
Okay.
I don't know why. I like playing it vanilla, and unless the stuff that comes in is truly fitting of what should exist and what should feel right in the world, then no. And there probably are mods out there, but as it stands, I still have yet to finish the game. And I don't mean 100% the game. I have not finished like the main story arc and all sorts of hundreds of things because of I've talked about this before, but because of the way I was trying to record it all and blah 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 blah. So it took too long for me to get anywhere, and then I just ended up sort of not giving up, but more things came out. But I've come back to playing it again now as well, and I chalked up quite a good few hours the last couple of weeks between.
Yeah, last weekend. Yeah.
Last weekend, yeah, I chalked up a lot of time last weekend.
We've done a bit of Team Fortress 2, but that's just Team Fortress 2. I'm getting kind of sick of Team Fortress 2. I think it's time to put it to bed for a little while.
I think so.
General. So CR actually, I guess, was feeling the same way because he was suggesting games to play other than Team Fortress 2 for our next sort of braingohurty get-together night. And among the things he suggested was a mod that's getting quite popular now after it got featured on Kotaku called DayZ for Arma 2.
Yeah, but you've got to pay for the game first, though.
You've got to have Arma 2 and the expansion, sadly, because it uses both of those. But it's in an alpha right now, and they might hope to try and make it independent.
Standalone.
Standalone, sorry. Because I assume if it's been growing in popularity, the folk who made Arma will be getting their money now because folk will be wanting to play it.
That's true.
So it's a different style of kind of zombie outbreak within a game that was originally meant to be a military one. Like Arma 2 is the one that ITV show accidentally broadcast footage from thinking it was a real terrorist video.
Yeah, because it's quite a sort of realistic style shooter, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So there's still the player versus player aspect, but it's within a zombified world, so there's zombies going around as well. So the danger isn't only from zombies, though.
Well, that's the thing. From what I've heard of it and seen of videos and stuff, the problem is never the zombies. It's people that decide that they want to be bastards and shoot other players.
Or you could, rather than look at it from a computer kind of view where you're like, they're trolling, you could be kind of role-playing saying, they want your gun, they want your ammo, they want your food to survive. But yeah, they're trolling.
Yeah, they're trolling fuckers.
You can at least role-play the trolling, I suppose. So we're going to plug CR's channel now because he is actually uploading videos of his time with the mod. He bought the games just to try it. I think it's one of those things, though, that I think the tension is a big factor because right now there's no real objective other than to survive.
So it's the fact
the tension of playing it is more than what someone watching someone play it would feel.
Watching playing it seems like there's an awful lot of gaps of not really an awful lot happening, and I guess that's when you're playing it, that's when the tension would be rising and rising.
Yeah, because you'd hear noises, you hear footsteps, and is it a zombie, is it a player, is it a good player, is it a bad player?
Just shoot them all anyway and let God sort them out.
So I'm interested in it actually quite a lot, but I don't want to have to buy Arma in the expansion, and I think I'd rather wait until it was at least at a beta stage. Because I think they need to add maybe, I don't know, dynamic events or some greater sense of purpose, like maybe there's randomly spawning safe zones.
Yeah, some
supplies, or there's a chance it'll be overrun when you get there, or a bit more, just more there. So it's because if there is more there, it'll encourage people to band together more than just kill each other.
That's a good point.
I think that would be important, in my opinion.
Something else to distract them away from trying to troll other people.
Yes, but I'm definitely keeping my eye on it because I do quite like what I've seen of it.
So that's DayZ.
DayZ is the mod, not like Daisy as in the cow. Day space Z.
A moo.
Just zombie cows going around all. Yeah, so Ciara's channel.
Would zombie cows eat brains? I mean, they don't eat meat normally, except for those mad cows, but they normally eat grass, so would they be interested in eating, like, zombie
the cow was so stupid prior to being zombified, it'd probably just stand there with cross eyes and just wait to die.
Moo.
What the hell got you into zombified cows?
I don't know.
The last thing I wanted to mention that we've both been playing is we finally, even though it was out in June last year or July or whenever it was, the Portal 2 DLC that came out, the free one.
Was it really that? No, it didn't come out then.
No, I think it was originally meant to.
It was supposed to, because we had the joke that it was Valve time.
It was. It was at the end of summer, which I think was September or October.
December.
Either way. Yeah, so did you enjoy it?
I did actually, yeah. I think we did the right thing.
Well, leaving it quite a while.
Because we ploughed through Portal 2 quite quickly. We did it all.
Yeah, we recorded it if anyone wants to see our playthrough of it.
Yep, it's up on your channel, Flick FFXI. But yeah, we ploughed through it. So then leaving that big gap meant that we went back to it was fresh new levels, and it was a new experience all over again.
Yes, I found it funny. I liked the mini story it had.
It was it was good. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Unfortunately, we didn't record it because we just we were stuck with what we're going to do one night and thought, fuck it,
we'll just do it casually.
Let's just do it.
It was, it was that lack of anything else to do. We thought, we'll just do it. And then I started, actually this is really fun, really getting into it. And then we just sort of went through it all.
We found it quite easy up till the last of the 6 puzzles or whatever it adds. The last puzzle was a pain in the arse. Just trying to get your head around how to do everything.
I think some of it was to do with like new mechanics and stuff, like learning about the
relearning how to do it as well.
Well, yeah, learning things like the blue goo landing on the cube and stuff like that.
You do that in the single player, but it had been so long I had forgotten.
Oh, right.
I just suddenly had the spark. Oh, hang on, you can coat cubes and make them bounce. But yeah, we don't want to spoil how to solve it. Yeah, so that was it. Have you been playing anything that I haven't been playing?
Not that I can think of, to be perfectly honest. We've pretty much covered it all. We haven't really done. I think we've kind of given up on Saints Row, I think.
Well, I mean, we're in the summer months, remember, so we'll probably need something.
On and off in between Diablo.
Yeah, exactly, because I'm not even sure what the next game I'm looking forward to is. At the end of the month, there's Arkham City DLC that I'm looking forward to, but that will only be a couple of hours long. Game-wise, well, Max Payne 3 is out today as we record this, but like we said last time, I'm not getting it. I did actually watch a video review of it, and I really hate the stylistic thing they've done where during cutscenes, words randomly flash up and kind of span along the screen.
Oh, right. Batman style.
No, worse. It's kind of like baby's first video.
Oh.
If it was apt words, maybe, but it's kind of like at random, and they've done it. Rockstar's done it as a stylistic choice, so it's kind of a like it or hate it kind of thing. I really don't like it.
Why am I not surprised?
Well,
you're such a hating person. You love to hate.
Look at some of the footage from it at some point, and you see if you think it looks good the way they've done it.
Okay, I will.
And also they've kind of screwed up the bullet time mechanics, because if you dive and touch anything, you automatically come out of bullet time, stagger to your feet. So even if you dive towards cover, he staggers up to his feet and then gets into cover again. So
That's
it's how did that slip by QA? Honestly,
it probably didn't. But by that point, they were like, "Well, we can't go back and fix it. It doesn't with the mechanics that we've already built." And they just went, fuck it." You know that's probably what happened.
I did want to mention Torchlight 2 a bit, since that's the big thing. Everyone have been slating Diablo 3, saying, "Well, screw it, just wait for Torchlight 2."
Like CR.
Like CR. I might get the chance to try it, because I might be covering the beta, or whatever it's called, the pre-release thing for Critical Gamer. I think both Diablo 3 and Torchlight 2 have gone with the same strategy, which is try and rip off Diablo 2 as much as possible. And they've both gone in slightly different directions, but they have the same goal.
We didn't mention about Diablo 3, but even like the art style, like the levels, like the locations are very similar. The enemies are pretty much identical and stuff. It's just it feels like you are playing in the same universe, because it's the same game basically.
Yeah, so I think Diablo 3 has kind of the right atmosphere, the right monster designs, etc. Torchlight 2 has apparently people who worked on Diablo 2, so they'll probably have tighter or more apt gameplay mechanics.
Yeah.
But it also has a more cartoony style. But at least this time they've remembered to put in co-op, because I quite liked the first Torchlight, but I lost too many points for me when it didn't have co-op. It seems like such a stupid thing to leave out for that.
It sounds like a rookie mistake. It could probably have blown the doors right off Diablo 3 having such a big reception. If when Torchlight came out, it had co-op and multiplayer and stuff.
But at least they've got it right this time, and there's no problem with them both being good games.
No, that's true.
I mean,
go and look at Medal of Honor. That totally succeeded with Call of Duty floating around. Yeah.
It does seem kind of ballsy releasing it so close to Diablo 3, I must admit. I mean, I would have tried to get it out before it, because then people would think, "Oh, it's cheap. It'll tide me over." That would be my business plan if I was in their shoes.
So they might be quite pleased about the launch problems with Diablo, because that might work in their favour. Whereas, had it been perfect launch and stuff, they might just get completely ignored.
Yeah, I think they've gone with the new strategy of doing a kind of, if you pre-order, I think it's worse less, if you pre-order you can get into the beta. So then you can play it as a beta while we wait a little while for Diablo 3 to disappear, maybe, and then bring it out. And people will say, "So much better, look, it doesn't have painful launch options, because it doesn't have to always be on and doesn't steal your data as you play."
Stealing data.
I feel I shouldn't diss it too much, considering we're giving away codes to play it, but Diablo 3 is brilliant.
See, for all faults, that as soon as we finish doing this, we're off to go and play it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we've done with our spare time since it came out.
Yes, I am covering the review of it for Critical Gamer, and I will be sure to mention the bad DRM stuff, but I'm reviewing it as a game, not as the painstaking, irritating things to get into the game.
Exactly. The thing is, all the bad things aren't going to overshadow the good stuff. And that's the way I like to look at it. There are bad things there, but they don't overbalance the good stuff.
Speaking of bad things, I remember our last podcast you kind of said that we hadn't heard anything from Capcom for a while, so I'd like to change that.
Okay.
Well, because we've been going easy on the Bears for a while, so I'd like to tell you what they're up to.
Have you got secret cameras in with the Bears?
I have an in with them, remember? Honey.
Oh, yeah.
Wink, nod. See?
Mm.
They set out their sales plan for the next financial year.
Right.
They hope to improve DLC sales from 3.5 billion yen. I mean, to 3.5 billion yen from the last year, which was 2.8 billion yen. So you can see they're concentrating on the important stuff.
Oh, yeah, obviously. The nitty-gritty.
Yeah. And something I'm sure isn't related to what I just said at all, they also hope to ship 6 million copies of Resident Evil 6. I think they just like saying the number 6.
666 Bears.
C-packs that will each be 600 points each. No, of course it's Capcom, it'll be 1,200 points each.
They are bastards.
They are, and I assume it must be working if they're still doing it, I guess.
If they're still making money off it, yeah.
If they're still getting away with it, more like. How dare they? So it's time for a new topic, and it's your turn to pick one, assuming you have one.
I am going to squeeze in the email section.
Ooh, we have emails. Don't we have like a 2-week-old one?
I had technical difficulties with my email, so I failed to pick out one that Noodles sent us in. Yes, it's Noodles. Sent one in before the last podcast, which we did cover an awful lot of anyway. He must have like recording equipment in my house somewhere.
Well, it stalked you, so I assume so. I mean, anytime your cat goes outside, it'll come back with a new roll of film.
I'm staring at the cat. It's you.
Is it staring back at you, and then all of a sudden there's a flash?
You didn't see that. So the first email Noodle sent in was basically talking about the Elder Scrolls is getting an MMO, which we covered the last time.
Is it? Is it really?
Which we covered the last time, yeah.
I don't like the foreboding way you implied that there's more than one email from Noodles.
He's saying, with such rich lore, it seems like it was only a matter of time before it would happen, which, you know, we covered this in the last podcast, really.
Yeah.
Even if the Star Wars universe couldn't rope in enough interest, how can a game franchise do anything but worse? Don't get me wrong, The Elder Scrolls is big, but not Star Wars big. Do you think?
Yeah, it won't do. Well, we already spoke about it last time, didn't we?
Yeah, it'll do all right.
It'll do all right for a little while.
It might not necessarily do all right in the long run, but it will have a decent launch like Star Wars did. I mean, there was faults with its launch, but there was a lot of people went out and bought it and played it, and then
it's the most in history, in fact.
There you go. Do you think the recent downfalls of MMOs recently, like Warhammer Online and The Old Republic, to name a few,
to name a couple.
Well, he actually points that out. He says, to name a few, okay, 2, but I can't think of others. So shut up.
He must have a camera here as well.
Could reflect a decline in the genre itself, or is it just that WoW still has such a stranglehold on the market? Do you know what I reckon? Part of the thing is that MMOs coming from that whole sort of fantasy role-playing side of things, obviously born from things like Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer Tabletop and things, and that was kind of bigger in our like youth, I suppose, than it is now.
In the 1950s.
Rose-tinted specs time. It was bigger back then, and obviously the technology came along and it's allowed us to do these things with computers. But now that we're getting older and people are getting married and kids and wives and jobs and work and stuff, they've got less time to play MMOs. MMOs are a big time sink.
Yeah, they're treadmills that make you fatter.
Exactly. So, because you've got less time, they're trying to make them casual. Casual doesn't work for the hardcore people. Casual doesn't end up working for the casual people because there's no hardcore people around to keep the game running, basically.
Yep.
So I've got a feeling they will just eventually just decline, and it'll be a new breed that comes out. It will be more persistent worlds that are...
Well, like the way Guild Wars does it, you mean? The one-time payment and then more revenue from expansions.
Yeah, well, in terms of like, you know, releasing costs and subscriptions and stuff, that sort of model will end up winning in the end, I reckon. But in terms of the actual gameplay, I don't think they'll be able to continue with the way things are. It'll change. It will be like...
Plus, people are trying to charge too much for their subscriptions these days.
That's gone.
Well.
That's definitely gone up a lot more. I mean, I could swear that I was barely paying £5 for Dark Age of Camelot when it was first out.
Oh yeah, but you have to take inflation into consideration.
Fuck inflation. Fuck it in the air. I don't. People are charging too much.
Yeah, I know. Like Old Public was what, tenner a month, which is ridiculous.
That, yeah.
When you think about how long someone could potentially, I don't want to think about how much I spent on Final Fantasy playing it for 6 years or so. Of those 10 years it's been out.
Yeah, you did plough in a lot of time. So did I.
A lot of money.
Well, the topic of MMOs, the Guild Wars beta weekend happened. Well, last weekend, but at that point, this is now like weekends ago.
All right, I wonder what the fuck are you talking about? You never played it. You're still reading the email.
Oh, reading the email.
Right. I didn't even realize. What, was it open? I wish I'd known because I would have tried it.
I don't know if either of you got into the beta or not, but a couple of my friends tried and simply couldn't, and those that managed to get access complained of the game quality being pretty awful with server issues.
Oh wait, hang on, as in just kind of like trouble getting on and lag, not the actual game itself.
Admittedly, this is the first time it's been available to the public. I was wondering if you or anyone you knew was able to get hands-on and got the same problems.
No, as far as I'm aware, no one at Critical Gamer got invited, or I haven't heard about it anyway, so that would be my only in.
It's quite interesting what he puts at the end here as well. The beta for Diablo 3, I think only Flick played it, but I could be mistaken. You are.
He is.
But if not, how did you both find it? Well, we've just talked about Diablo 3, the full game at length.
Full game.
So there's that email from Noodles, as always, and then we got an email from somebody new.
Ooh, that's not Noodles. I thought you were going to say it's like Noodles' female counterpart. Noodles
female counterpart called Rory Wood, who entitled their email Bear. The Bears are waiting to strike.
Is that all it says?
Are either of you...
I think that's a threat.
It's from Capcom. Run! Run to us!
They're finally on to us after all. I really regret what we said just a little while ago then.
Well, but speaking of, it says, are either of you going to play the new Devil May Cry game? And what are your thoughts on the new look that they went with?
I despise the new look. I quite liked the sort of camp, stereotypical closet gay Kid Dante because it's funny. He could be a badass when he wanted to be, but he could also be funny, and I like that. I don't like this new angsty crap that the new ones have gone with.
I never really... I mean, I played Devil May Cry 4, because I've got it for the PlayStation somewhere, I think, still, unless I got rid of it, I don't know. And I played the first one, because you had the first one. And that's it. And I never really got into it.
I do like the gameplay, so it will be hard to resist if the gameplay is as good in this new one, but I hate the character, what they've done to him.
He also tickles on your nerve, I suppose. Do you think Naruto will ever end, or will it keep going on like One Piece?
I think he has an ending planned, if I remember rightly, although it's going to span 3 generations, so we're only in the second one.
So they're going to be...
It's still so popular, but I doubt it'll be ending anytime soon, even though it seems to be kind of working towards that at the moment. It's kind of reaching the culmination of a war at the moment.
Of this generation, yeah. So I haven't watched Naruto in a very long time. I never read the manga, but...
No, because you can't read. It's a little non-secret about you.
Reading's hard.
It is.
I just make these emails up. They're not real.
Yeah, I just make them up.
I'm just inventing these things.
I never did mention to you, but Bleach is actually ending. Did you know that?
No.
The arc it's currently in the manga is the final one, because it's so unpopular now, he's ending it.
The last time I watched Bleach was when there was a woman or something that was captured, and they went to rescue her. That was at the very beginning.
No, that was about kind of, yeah. Okay,
episode 2030, something like that, maybe tops.
After rescuing her, it kind of all went to hell. It went really shit, as I've moaned about before. But that's where it should have ended regardless. And then I think it might be the first example ever of the actual author of the thing doing what could be classed as a filler arc. Within like a real filler arc where it's the Fullbring people, anyone who knows what they are. I won't spoil it because I don't think they're in the anime yet. But yeah, that was filler and it was awful. So now he's into the final story, and it's well, I better not say what it is.
No, don't.
No, I won't. Either way, I am keeping up with it because I'm just curious how it's going to end, because he might actually have the balls to kill folk off now, because Bleach is well known for characters surviving fatal injuries pretty much every week.
I hate that.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm just seeing how low it'll go before it ends, but I'm past caring about it. Naruto, I think, will go on for at least another few years, at least.
Aside from the horrible filler, it's not been that bad, really.
Oh, it's Naruto.
Yeah, in the long run.
I don't watch the anime, so I haven't seen any of the Shippuden.
I've much preferred Shippuden than whatever there's no title for the first.
Oh, it's just called the original series.
I've much more enjoyed Shippuden. It feels better.
It's a bit more adult, I think, which is probably that's kind of reflects the author of it getting older. Because I mean, Naruto's on its 10th year anniversary, I think.
Is it? Fucking hell.
Yeah, I can't remember now.
No, it can't be 10.
It is at least 10, because I remember I think it's at the start of Generations it has the 10th anniversary thing.
Jesus.
So yeah, it's been a while.
So there's actually a second email from Noodles which arrived about 10 minutes ago.
No, his sister, Noodles McMuffina.
Muffina. That's horrible. He sent me a link, which I've not seen, so I'll open it just now. It's a link to... It's a news piece. Now, I've actually noticed people talking about this before. The official DICE servers have disappeared from Battlefield 3.
Oh, I heard my editor has been going nuts about something to do with this. Yeah, third-party servers are a pain in the arse because they randomly kick you or block you and things like that.
Well, apparently the update to this piece of news is that DICE is not shutting down servers. If DICE managed servers appear unavailable, it's because they've been rented and customized by players. DICE will continue to run servers and will reserve a percentage of servers for players who prefer to connect through DICE-hosted servers. Now, that's interesting.
They're renting out their own servers to people?
Yes.
Huh. For how much? How much do they charge for this kind of thing?
It doesn't say on there, but that's interesting, but at the same time, that's bad.
It's another cash stream, I guess.
The problem is if you're playing with people's customized servers, you've got the problem of getting kicked for no real reason, same as you do.
Well, that's what my editor was saying. He would just join servers and get randomly kicked, and he couldn't understand why, and it turned out it was for that. Weird,
weapon restrictions and vehicle restrictions and things.
Too. Yeah, that as well. Yeah.
Yep. I don't like that, and that's one of these things that I'll go back to Skyrim. I like vanilla. I like it just as it is. Don't tinker with anything. When I played Counter-Strike, I did not like servers that had no AWP. Fuck off. Fuck off with your no AWP. If you can't handle people using AWP, then just fuck off.
That's a hatred that's been burning in you for years.
For a very long time. I never even really used the AWP. In fact, to prove how elite I was, I would intentionally use the Scout instead. It was weaker, but and cheaper, so you could get it earlier on, but just to make a point that you didn't need it, but people would turn it off because it was one-hit kills. Anyway, so...
yeah, get over that. It's been long enough.
It's, oh god, there's an awful lot of these things that might come out of the gaming closet over the course of the podcast.
As Muffina said.
So this is another underhanded tactic by EA to scrounge a few pennies. At least
yes, it is. Yeah.
Introduction of rentable servers wasn't a change of heart. Then he sent me another link and he says if you click on the logo, you get a nasty surprise. Do I really do it?
Yeah, do it. Go on.
It's like an Aperture logo thing saying Blaperture Mesa.
It's a parody of the new Cave Johnson sound files that are brilliant that got included with the Portal 2 level editor.
I see.
So what happens when you press on it?
Not a lot. I'm trying it on my phone.
Oh, well, it won't work on your phone.
Yeah, well.
Oh, well, not...
I get all my emails off of my phone.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just point out one of the in-jokes that Cave says during these, that randomly played during the start of player-made missions, is that he bought Black Mesa and renamed it Blaperture Mesa because it's under the Aperture brand. Oh.
That's what it does.
I didn't hear it. What did he say?
Hi, this is Gabe Newell.
Oh, okay.
That seemed to be all it wanted to do.
Well, that was terrible, but I'll give you...
You're a bad person.
I've got... I found someone on YouTube who uploaded all the new sound files of J.K. Simmons talking for 25 minutes. Just
oh, yeah.
It's very, very funny. It's excellent. There's lots of references to the stuff that was in the original Portal 2, Team Fortress 2, there's nods to that. I'll be very surprised if there isn't a meme already of when he says "so salty" at one point as well.
So yeah, that's pretty much all that Noodles had to send in to us this time, but technically we didn't cover his last one, so
thank you to the new person. Thank you to the new person who wasn't Noodles.
New person's internet name, because obviously the email comes up with their real name, but new person's internet name is Doomsday428, who I believe is following one of us or both of us on YouTube.
On the YouTubes. Huzzah!
So,
you're moderately famous, unlike us. Sad face.
Sad panda face. What's next?
I have 2 things left on my list. What about you?
I have 1 thing left.
Well, shall I pick one and then you... Yeah.
Just get on with it.
Let's see if I can maybe cover something that is your last topic. Is it about The Walking Dead?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I just had news that the first episode, as in, I know on the PC you bought all the episodes at once, but the first episode on consoles, it sold 1 million, which is Telltale's most successful kind of episodic release to date.
But that's good. That's a good thing, and I approve, because it was a good game.
It is. But also, on the upload to YouTube I did of the last podcast, someone commented, because we spoke about, or I mentioned my fears that nothing you really did affected anything, really. It's all kind of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, because we compared some of our results, sort of hazily, so we didn't spoil too much. But yeah,
without going into, again, to spoil anything, but he did a spoilerific, marked spoiler, but he did a spoilerific example where he compared what happened if you did something else instead of this. And like, even for like something that sounds like a drastic choice at the time, it still turns out the same way, which I was very disappointed with.
I mean, I get it. It'd be difficult to deal with, in terms of making real like impact from decisions, because you'd have to have way too many alternate realities. Many different things that could have happened. But it doesn't. They don't advertise being a big.
Exactly, don't advertise it, and it doesn't dilute the first playthrough of it. So I just think it takes away any replayability, because there's no point really.
You'll get the same ending regardless. You'll get the same scenarios again and again and again.
I'm still going to stick with it, although there's rumours that the second episode is actually coming out at the end of June rather than this month.
All right.
Which is a shame. So that's something to look forward to. I forgot. I'd rather not have to wait until the end of June, but
that's fine, because I won't be here at the end of the month.
Oh, are you going to prison?
No, I'm going to Birmingham and then down to Sussex.
Might as well.
We're going on holidays.
I'm glad you spoke over what I said there. Slightly offensive.
You're a bad man.
Right, let's go. What's your last topic? Come on.
It's nothing really important, but it
never is.
Call of Duty topic that they've been going on about this new game mode that they brought out, which is like a 1v1 or a 2v2 mode, which is supposed to be a more condensed version of the combat. And they're advertising it as this new and innovative gaming mode, which has existed for a very long time, ever since like Quake 1 had like 1v1, 2v2 matches and stuff.
But the people they're marking it towards wouldn't have been alive when Quake was out.
That's a good point. They've probably just been a wink in their daddy's eye. So 1v1, 2v2 matches have existed in shooters for years. It's not new.
You don't need a map.
Duty.
Yeah, it's new to the game.
Now they have actually designated specific maps that are designed for 1v1, 2v2 play, which is good in a way, I suppose, because in Black Ops they fucked up royally when they brought out what was it called, Nuketown, I think it was. If you ever landed on a map, went onto Nuketown, and you were playing like Team Deathmatch or something, and the respawn points were all over the shop, and no, it was horrible experience.
That's what you get for playing it, quite frankly.
The other maps and stuff were good. I enjoyed Black Ops, so fuck you.
My very final topic is a terrible prediction for the future that I hope will never actually happen.
Is it going to rain bees and zombies are going to come out of your mouth? And
no, it's kind of a sad prediction.
Active imagination.
You do, especially when you've been drinking.
It's wearing off now. I'm sad. I'm a sad.
Drink does not work that way. So
drink more booze.
Yes, drink more booze. It's about kind of like when publishers and retailers, when they run out of ways to blame piracy, what they might blame next. And I am genuinely afraid that they will turn on things like YouTube. Because
say that YouTube ruined sales. But
rather than saying potentially pirating ruined all our sales, they could say Let's Plays have potentially ruined all our sales.
What, by saying that people could watch you playing through all of the game
rather than buying
it and playing through the game? No, because watching and playing are two different things. You get much different.
I agree with you, but
miming sexual actions at me.
Tell your cat to stop it.
That's a good analogy, actually. Watching porn and having sex are two very different things.
Oh, is that what that meant?
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I agree with you. But you know how it is, because developers call a potential sale a real sale. You remember Notch making fun of he potentially lost 5 million or whatever the day before just because the servers weren't up.
Exactly.
A potential sale is not the same as an actual sale, but you can still apply it to piracy, and also you could say a potential sale was stolen by someone who watched a playthrough on YouTube and decided, don't want to play it now. Either because they didn't like what they saw or because they felt satisfied enough by what they saw.
But you could take this to like the extremes by saying that artists are losing potential album sales by people listening to the song on the radio.
Yeah, you probably could. I'm not saying it's...
No, I know, but do you know what I mean? Like that, like I'm getting angry already, and they haven't even started.
I know. I think it might be the way things will go. I really hope it doesn't. And I mean, that's partly why I sought protection, actually, because I genuinely think it might start happening to poor sods doing Let's Plays or just gameplay videos, that kind of thing.
It's free advertising for them.
That's how I look at it. It is free advertising that might be seen, but they might decide to look at it from the other side. Like, yeah, it's free advertising, but it's also, they're showing off things or they'll put restrictions where you're only allowed to show the first hour or something like that, crap like that. I think that's the way things will be going, especially if more sort of, like those internet acts start becoming legal. Yeah.
So let's not talk about them.
No, let's not, because I want things to wrap up now so we can go play Diablo. So I better not get angry at internet laws and bullshit like that. So handle the wrap up.
I always handle the wrap up. You can't.
You remember the URLs.
You have absolutely no skill in dealing with any of the professional stuff to do the podcast. It's always left to me.
I accidentally just burped there without turning off my mic. So yes, you are absolutely correct.
Wow, you're such a pro.
Yes.
Right, well, okay, so, yeah, you're obviously listening to the podcast. You can go and visit us on Facebook. Just search for braingohurty or www.facebook.com/braingohurty.
So if you want to try and win one of our guest passes to get into Diablo 3.
Yep, they're definitely there, and unless you really wanted... If you really, really wanted to, you could pick the WoW one instead. I won't hold it against you. He might, but I won't. Steam group, braingohurty. You can get... You've gone silent all of a sudden.
Yes, I was there. Yes, I was letting you carry on. I wasn't interrupting.
You can visit Flick's channel at FlickFFXI. Let's see all his YouTube goodness or adverts. Take your pick. My channel, Blighty Warrior, where there's no adverts and less videos. And less Naruto and less views. Less subscribers, yeah. And if you want to get in touch, braingohurty@gmail.com.
Bye-bye.
You can't just end like that.
Why not? I was trying to be upbeat.
Bye.
Fuck off.